There's so much variety on this album that kind of expands that from what we've already done with those kind of songs on Alien. And I don't know, it felt like the natural progression for us.
Hey guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. Now, Northlane are back with a brand new album and a new single you can hear right now. I'm delighted to say on Zoom right now, I am joined by Marcus. How are you, man?
Very good, James. Very good.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Good to see you. And what an exciting time to be able to talk to you. You know, let's just kind of dive right in. The album is kind of imminent at the time of recording, you know, a few weeks to go, but it's coming on up. It's coming along nicely. It is called Obsidian. Let's just start with the obvious questions. When did these songs kind of start to develop for you guys? When did you start to feel like, yep, it's new album time? This is interesting now.
Wow. Well, yeah, I guess. About at the start of all this mess, I guess, maybe 2 years ago when we were starting to have a bit more time after, everything started getting a bit gnarly. We just. I don't know, we were always starting to write things anyway, but yeah, we started getting back into it just as everything started to shut down. And in a way, it was good timing, but I guess, I don't know, it's all a bit weird to write when you don't really know what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got to be. We'll definitely get onto some of the lyrical themes next. I think you're definitely touching on some of the stuff that's been going on in the world a little bit here and there. But one thing I did definitely want to mention up top is, you know, this is the first self-released album for you guys. You know, you're an independent band now, and you're really kind of taking the reins. It's really exciting to see it at a good moment to capture you on that. I wonder when you're going into an album like this and you know that's going to be the case and you know you're able to take full control of what you want to do, however it is creatively. How does that affect your mindset with this? Does it, I mean, it must naturally make you think, well, we've got a bit more freedom to play with it. We can kind of do whatever we want, wherever it takes us.
But there's also a little bit extra pressure, having it all come upon us to kind of get it all done. But I think we've kind of, after however long, you know, over 10 years, I mean, figured out what we're trying to do. And I feel like, any kind of restraints were real off on this album. And I think Alien also opened us up to experiment with a lot of new sounds and just dive deeper into some of the stuff we've already started kind of experimenting with.
Well, let's get into some of these singles, man. I want to begin with one of the more recent ones, which is Echo Chamber, because lyrically and thematically, that's of course kind of touching on social media and the internet. And I don't know if it's because we've all been stuck indoors looking at screens for a couple of years, but it feels like that's a really prevalent theme in a lot of artists' work at the minute. Talk to me about, I guess, why you wanted to tackle that subject and how you go about putting that subject into a song like this.
Well, yeah, for me, I just kind of found like anytime I was on the internet, all I was seeing was either people attacking each other or people trying to, you know, have the coolest take on whatever the issue is at the moment. I don't know. It just felt like there's just a lot of people trying to be seen and make their original opinion sound really cool, I guess. I don't know. And to me, that takes away from a lot of what's actually going on by, you know, joking or, I don't know, just trying to, I understand people are trying to, you know, make the most and try and look on the positive side, but I just find looking at all this negativity on the internet, people attacking each other, people, just trying to be the coolest person on the internet. I don't know. It just makes me kind of a bit unwell. And for me, it was just like I had to just stop looking. I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on Twitter or on Instagram or anything this year. I've been very wary of trying to get trapped in that bubble, I guess. And for me, getting off the internet and just being in the real world and focusing on what's in front of me has really helped my mental health, to be honest. Like, I don't know why it's such a weird thing to kind of get caught up in that negativity online, but for me, it just was bumming me out so much. For me, it was just like, let's go turn it off. Have you tried turning it off? Have you tried? Yeah, it's an echo chamber where everyone's just trying to be really cool. And I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah, I think it's weird to a lot of us, man. Don't worry, you're far from alone in that feeling. It's a really interesting idea to kind of play around with, and I guess it really complements, some of the musical sounds we can hear, of course, throughout this record. A lot of kind of electronic influences in there, and it's really nice hearing you guys balance that because, as we'll come on to with this current single, there's a proper heavy moments like we'd expect from you, but it's really interesting that use of electronics. Talk to me a little bit about, I guess, pushing that synth sound up even further than it's ever been in there before, I guess.
Yeah, so I think John has always had those elements in our music, and with Alien, it was quite prevalent in songs like Eclipse and 4D. And yeah, I think with how those songs went and how Alien went with the fans, it's really just let us feel free to dive really deep into those kind of experimental electronic sounds. And I think there's so much variety on this album that kind of expands that from what we've already done with those kind of songs on Alien. And I don't know, it felt like the natural progression for us. It felt like something that we hadn't heard in other bands' music or other bands' music. Yes. And it felt really unique to us. I don't know much more than that, to be honest. It just felt like what was right. And John kind of just brought all this awesome new material, this stuff out of left field that we've not heard him come up with before for Northlane in particular. And I don't know, it just felt like the right move. We kind of we can do what we want. We can take this as far as we want. And yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, no, it feels like a natural fit, which I think is the nice thing. Oftentimes, you don't want it to feel like it's crowbarred in, like, oh, let's throw some more different instruments in there. But no, it flows really naturally. And I think that's because you have a lot of, as we'd expect from you, very kind of heavier moments on the record as well, in that kind of traditional sense. And that brings us very nicely onto this current single that people, by the time they're watching this, will have just been able to hear, which is Plenty, which, again, some of those electronic tinges, but I would argue one of the more kind of straightforward heavy moments on the record here. Tell me a little bit about the writing process behind that song in particular.
Absolutely. Well, that was actually one of the first songs that I started writing lyrics for and vocals for. And yeah, I think at the time I was kind of going through a bit of, personal stuff, kind of a bit of backlash from family, from Alien. And I guess for me, there was this kind of, I don't know, there was all this stuff going on in my head. And there's a few songs that kind of reflect how I was feeling during that. And this one is kind of, me just kind of in my own head and feeling like, if I was to be reincarnated, would I want to do all this again? Would I want to, I don't know, go through all this pain, go through, these highs and these lows? Because I don't know, there's so much in life that is, gets so difficult. And obviously with the last couple of years, everyone can relate to that, how, hard stuff can just come out of nowhere. And for me, Plenty is kind of touching on these weird thoughts in my head of like, how do I reconcile what's gone on already? And like, I don't know if I can reconcile anything that I've said in terms of what I've said to my family or said about what my upbringing was. And for me, it was just a really stressful and anxious time for me. And for me, I was just like, well, if reincarnation, if that was ever a thing, like, that's not something I would want to do. I wouldn't want to do anything like this again. Because then I guess you never know, like, how anyone's life is meant to turn out. But for me, that was just kind of an interesting thought to me.
Yeah, definitely, man. No, it's an interesting moment on the album for sure. It absolutely stands out in that way. And, we allude to the fact, a lot has changed over the last couple of years in the world, obviously, but also in the band itself. But I did just want to touch very, very briefly on the fact that, of course, there has been a bit of a lineup change since the last time we saw you guys all together. And I'm always interested when something like that happens about I guess the balancing act that then happens, did you find it took a minute to kind of click into, you know, a couple of people in maybe semi-different roles from what you'd done before, or is it just natural because obviously you guys know each other and work together well already?
Yeah, well, I think that with these new songs, there wasn't anything written with Brendan before he left. So at least there wasn't anything that we were like, oh, we need to keep this, but Brendan's not here anymore, and how are we going to do that? And obviously, we've done a bunch of albums with us forced all kind of at the core of it. I think the only thing that's kind of changed is just that extra vocal kind of spice that Brendan brought to the band. But in the end, I've been trying really hard to experiment with new vocal techniques myself and try and fill those kind of gaps that people might expect with something a bit different. The main thing I've found is just like the four of us. I don't know. I think the four of us work really well together, and obviously with Brendan being in Canada, that was always a bit tough to kind of get everyone in the room and to make sure everyone's voice is properly heard. But to be honest, I think we've managed quite well, and due to just the fact that the four of us have quite good chemistry already prior to Brendan joining, it wasn't too crazy. I think there were moments in there where recording is quite stressful, so I was having moments where I was like, oh, maybe if we had these other vocal sounds, I was kind of like, Nick, can you do vocals? But in the end, that was just my brain trying to like figure it all out and figure out how we could. To be honest, it probably didn't even have anything to do with Brendan. It was probably me just being anxious about writing and where to take everything next. But in the end, yeah, I think the four of us gel quite well, and we managed to, I think, transition back to the four of us quite seamlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been interesting to watch that transition for sure. It seems to be clicking really, really nicely. Couple more things before I let you go. I did want to mention as well, you guys have been keeping busy during this downtime, where everyone's kind of not been able to get out on the road. The Acoustic EP, 2D. I want to mention that because that's something that, from what I understand, at least you guys have kind of been wanting to do something acoustic for a little minute now, right? It must have been nice to finally have that time and that opportunity to be able to approach songs in a new way.
Absolutely. And yeah, with the songs that are on that EP, they were songs that I've performed a few times acoustically. So it was quite a lot of fun, approaching them in a different way. And I really wanted to try and give them just a slightly different flavor to the original songs. Obviously, trying to put the riffs in an acoustic song, that just wouldn't work. But yeah, I think a lot of these songs have kind of found new life and been seen in a new light. Songs like Rift, I think Rift for me was a song that really, really transformed, especially in lockdown. The lyrics in that song kind of took on new meaning after spending so much time locked inside. And it was also really fun though I recorded that myself. So that means I got to take some time with that and really focus in on the little nuances, I guess. But yeah, I'm really glad we were able to do that. I'm sure there'll be more of that kind of stuff to come in the future. There's definitely a few songs on the new album that I would like to kind of tackle with that same kind of approach. But yeah, it's something I love doing. I love singing. I just love singing, to be honest. So doing that in a different way was really cool.
Yeah, nice to be able to mix it up like that and approach these songs from a slightly different perspective. It's a very cool idea to always have that. I'll leave you with this, Marcus. Looking forward to the future live shows, man. I mean, I know everyone's schedules keeps moving around left, right, and center, but I can only imagine that with a new record ready to go and with big heavy moments like this and really exciting sounds, yeah, you guys must be absolutely desperate to hit the road and get out there again, right?
Oh, I can't wait. At the end of the Alien cycle, I was feeling a bit burnt out, and like I said, with some family members kind of having some things to say, I was feeling like, oh, I'm not sure if I can get right back into this again. And after a year of being locked up, I need to get on stage again. I've realized how much that fills me with energy, and also it's kind of, it fills me with energy, but also like drains me of energy in the way that exercise might do for some people. I feel like it's really my workout is being on stage and really just letting go for 60 minutes, an hour and a half. And yeah, it really hit me halfway through that lockdown how much I really need playing shows and being on stage and interacting with people in the crowd and just being amongst that again. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good times, man. Well, we'll see you out here in the UK when that's allowed and all good, but stay safe until then. And yeah, man, just really exciting sounds on this record. Looking forward to seeing those songs up on the stage as well, man.
Thanks so much, James. I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, good to see you, man. All right, Marcus, everybody.